Good afternoon, Judge Law. Whenever you're ready, we're ready.
All right, yeah, we are going to commence. We're just having an issue with the screen in the courtroom. So, and we have a interested party who would like to have would like to make a brief statement with regards to positions 5 and 6. So we're going to start moving along. Courtroom 2, are you ready?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. This is position 11, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, thank you. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and this is going to be the Fulton State Expedited Accusation Calendar. This is a list of cases in which individuals were recently arrested and charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses. Upon being booked at the Fulton County Jail, the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, has already formally accused the defendant of said misdemeanor charges. So this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. When we address your cases on a one-on-one basis, number one, remember that this entire Zoom proceeding is not only being recorded, but live streamed. So remember your constitutional rights in order to preserve your defenses. The first right is the right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case during the course of these proceedings, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, we have attorneys from the Public Defender's Office to represent you. I am not sure if I have a conflict defense counsel. Certain defendants may be appointed defense attorneys from the conflict defense list. I'm not sure if we have a conflict defense attorney present today, but he or she will be representing you at the next court appearance. Position number 11 is, excuse me, Brian Napoleon Jackson. Mr. Jackson, his case number is 22 CR 003475G. Mr. Jackson, you've been accused of criminal trespass from a June 2nd, 2022 incident. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim.
Okay,
Right.
good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon. Mr. Tucson, any prize?
14 total.
Okay.
Last arrest was March. Failure to appear in simple assault. October 2021 simple assault. August 2021 was one of them crimes they don't like me to say out loud.
All right. This one is we'll wave sounding on that other one that's all from Smyrna, correct? Or
Correct.
Cobb County?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. All right. Mr. Cheney, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. Our
Hi, sir.
bond recommendation is $500 surety, which was already established by a previous court. Stay away from Omni Hotel located at 190 Marietta Street Northwest, where the defendant was asked to leave the hotel after he entered, put his head down between his legs, was asked if he needed aid, and asked several times to leave, and was finally escorted out by police when he refused. Also, part of the recommendation would be no weapons, drugs, alcohol, no new violations of Georgia law, and to stay away from the incident location, which I have previously stated, the Omni Hotel. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson is 38 years old, and I believe that he was at Omni Hotel. He was not disruptive to anybody else. He had to take his breaths, and he does have allergic reactions to certain.
Ms. Kim,
yes.
Kim, I'm sorry, please hold.
Yes.
I have Dr. Danielle Sweat Wiley. Dr. Wiley, I'm going to remove you from the Zoom until you are parked in a safe location. The host, if you could please remove Dr. Wiley, and if she comes back, she needs to, thank you. Okay, Ms. Kim, I do apologize, continue.
That's okay. No problem, Your Honor. So he was basically taking a breath, and just because he couldn't answer, just because he was taking a breath at public place. I think criminal trespass was a little too harsh. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. He has been here in Georgia for 36 years, ever since he was 2, and he has 4 minor children that he's taking care of. He has his parents, siblings, he's not a flight risk, and he is working, gainfully employed at Department of Veterans Office. And he has served Navy from 2004 to 2012 for US country. So we would like to request for signature on bond for him. Thank you.
Bond is set at $1,500. It's going to be a signature bond through the jail to stay 200 yards away from the Omni Hotel on Marietta Street in Northwest. So if there is an issue, call 911 instead of entering into private premises. Mr. Jackson, if you get arrested again for anything else, whether it's in Fulton County, City of Atlanta, whether it's in Cobb County or the city of Smyrna or anywhere else, and we find out about it, we will have your signature bond revoked and converted to either a surety bond or a cash bond. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Judge, I understand.
All right, and do not return to the Omni Hotel. And if they see you there, they'll have you arrested for criminal trespass, which I guess you now understand that will also be grounds to revoke your signature bond. Thank you.
You're done. You have to sit back in the second row for me.
Oh, by the way, do we have a good address on him? He lives in Smyrna, right?
Yes, I'll
All
follow
right.
up with you on that address. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next case.
Sit in the blue chair. Come on, Mr. Next.
Name, please.
Hold on. Sorry, Judge. This is position 18, Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Cameron Murphy. Is it Murphy, R-E-E? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it's R-E-E.
Okay, Mr. Murphy is accused of battery from a June 1st, 2022 incident. Case number 22 CR 003472G. Mr. Murphy, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your counsel is going to be, is it Ms. Kim?
Yes,
Okay,
Your Honor.
thank you. Any priors, Mr. Sousa? First arrest?
First arrest.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cheney or Ms. Brown? Yes, Ms. Brown?
Yes, Judge. This event happened on 6/1/2022 at 22 Airline Street in Northeast Atlanta. The victim in this case is Miguel Espinoza, last name spelled E-S-P-I-N-O-Z-A. When the officers responded to the location, they spoke with Mr. Miguel, who reported that he was working at a construction site on the 12th floor. He noticed that the defendant and another gentleman were in a verbal dispute, and he went over to try to intervene to stop the dispute. And the defendant struck him in the face, punched him in the face, and he basically saw visible injuries to the right side of the victim's neck, the right side of the upper forehead, the left side of his face, and he also had a cut near his left eye. As stated by pretrial, there aren't any priors, so our recommendation in terms of bond is a $2,500 surety bond. No further contact with the victim, Miguel Espinoza. Stay away from the location at 22 Airline Street. My understanding is that was a construction site, and they're not welcome back there to work. 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Does he work there, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Cameron is 19 years old, and actually he denies the allegation, and he was not the first aggressor. It was Mr. Niguel who was the initial aggressor. He's responsible as soon to be a father. He's expecting a baby this coming 2003, and also he is engaged to get married. He has been working at this commercial site for 1.5 years, 1 year and a few months for last 1 year. So he likes his job, and he was not the first initial aggressor. So we would like to request for his signature on bond as pretrial also recommended, sir. Recommended, Your Honor.
Bond is set at $3,500. It is going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. He is to have no further contact with Miguel Espinoza. He's to stay 200 yards away from Mr. Espinoza and not communicate with him in person through a third party, through any kind of electronic or phone device, and definitely not on social media. He may return to his job at Airline Street as long as his employer makes sure that they do not work at the same time at the same location. So it'll be up to his employer whether he wants to bring Mr. Murphy back to the job, or whether he's going to be fired by his employer and therefore not allowed to return to the location. He's not to possess no firearms, no weapons, and he is not to consume any alcohol and no illegal drugs. He will report to pretrial once a month. He will be subject to random screens for drugs and alcohol, and he will attend and complete a one-day anger awareness program with pretrial services. Yes, Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Murphy, I would like to recommend you to stay silent. You have a signature on bond. You can go home now.
Oh, I can't. I just told you I ain't got money for the first one.
You can call me and ask me questions.
How much was that?
$3,500.
Thank you.
And Mr. Murphy, if you get arrested again, please bring $3,500 with you to jail. Thank you.
Next, we have position 5, Mr. Coxson.
All right, do we have position 6 as well, Everton Coxson in the courtroom?
Yes. Yes.
All right, if you want to have him standing behind Ariel Coxson. And sir, if you'd like to come all the way around, the microphone will work for you, but unfortunately our screen is not present, so you'll be identifying yourself. Okay. So I see Ariel Coxson seated on the chair. Is Everton Coxson in the courtroom?
Yes, he's coming in now, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Here he is, Judge.
Thank you very much. We have Ariel Coxson, who is seated up front, and that is case number 22 CR 003-463C, accused of simple battery domestic violence on June 1st, 2022. We have a cross defendant, Everton Coxson, seated behind him to his left, case number 22 CR 003-464C, also accused of simple battery domestic violence, June 1st, 2022. I understand that Everton Coxson is the father and Ariel Coxson is the son. Is that correct? Mr. Ariel Coxson, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. Mr. Ariel Coxson and Mr. Everton Coxson, you both have been reminded of your right to remain silent. Mr. Ariel Coxson, you are represented by Public Defense Counsel, Ms. Wanda Gant. And Mr. Everton Coxson, you will be represented by a conflict defense attorney. We do not have one available at the present time, but he or she will be present with you at your next court appearance. Let me see. Deputy, if you could stand behind our witness, please. Thank you. Ms. Wanda Gant and the folks in courtroom 2, as well as Prosecutor Mitchell, you will see a gentleman in the courtroom wearing a white t-shirt and what appears to be green pants. He is an interested witness who would like to contribute to this hearing. So first, we're going to begin with Ariel Coxson. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
It's his second 2019 assault and battery, dangerous weapon out of Boston.
Do we have a disposition?
No, not on the GCI.
All right. What about Everton Coxson? Any priors?
Third arrest. Last was 2003, assault and battery out of Massachusetts.
All right. Oh, okay, the screen is up. You should see them, sir. All right. Ms. Mitchell, what is your recommendation for Ariel Coxson?
For Ariel Coxson, our recommendation is going to be a $5,000 signature bond, no further contact with co-defendant Everton Coxson, stay away from address 545 Micah, spelled M-I-C-A, Trace, Atlanta, Georgia, BHE or MHET, a one-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. The bond for Everton Coxton will be similar with the $5,000 signature bond, no further contact with Ariel Coxson, a one-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Does he have a stay away as well from the Micah Street?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Does Everton Coxson has to stay away from the Micah Street location as well?
No, we believe it's his residence.
Okay. Ms. Wanda, again, shall I allow the witness to testify first?
Your Honor, I am not familiar with the testimony that this interested witness is willing to offer today. And in light of the state's recommendations, I would ask that witness's testimony be limited to be delayed for another time, perhaps at trial.
All right. This gentleman has been here since this morning. He came here this morning and he's come back and he's been very diligent about wanting to have his say. So I'm going to permit him to say so. Sir, if you can lower your mic, lower your mask for a second.
Your Honor,
you can put your mask back on. Thank you.
May I be heard before?
Yeah, sure.
The witness testifies.
I have no idea who he is. I have no idea what's his role. I have no idea what he's going to testify about. So he's just an interested witness. And if there's hearsay, if it's not based on personal knowledge, if he's not observed anything, then I would definitely take that into consideration. So what would you like to tell me, Ms. Gant?
Your Honor, I am unopposed to the signature bond for Mr. Coxson. I am opposed to the stay away and the no contact orders. Mr. Coxson informs me that his father, the complaining witness, Mr. Everton Coxson, had plans to take him back to Boston, Your Honor. So therefore, we believe that these parties need to have contact. I have not had the occasion due to the circumstances to determine Mr. Everton Coxson's wishes, but my client wants to continue having contact with his father. My client informs me that the 543 Micah Trace residence is his uncle's residence and that he was visiting there. And I would ask that the court not issue a stay away at this time.
Okay.
Lastly, I am opposed to any MHET evaluations. I do not have any concerns regarding my client's competency. I had the luxury of interviewing him. He understands the nature of the charges and was able to offer to assist me in his defense, Your Honor. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you, Ms. Gant. Yes, sir. What is your name, sir?
My name is James Sawyer.
James, and how do you spell your last name?
Sawyer.
James Sawyer, okay.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
Mr. Sawyer, as you can see, the two individuals on the screen, Ariel and Everton Coxson, how do you know them?
Everton is my brother-in-law. That's my wife is the older sister of Everton Coxson, and
Okay.
Ariel is my nephew.
All right, so you're the brother-in-law to Everton, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you'd like to say something, may I place you under oath?
Yes, ma'am.
You solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, as you know, these two gentlemen have been arrested and charged with a violent offense allegedly against each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you personally observe this altercation?
Yes, ma'am. No, I didn't personally observe this altercation yesterday, but I observed the altercation for the past 5 days when they were staying with me and my wife.
And where would they have been staying?
That was 5500 Oakley Industrial Boulevard, apartment 509, Fairborn, Georgia, 30213.
Okay, so they were staying with you at Fulton Industrial Boulevard for 5 days.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the time frame?
The time frame was on Monday was Memorial Day. It was all day.
Okay, so it was from recently, Memorial Day.
Yeah, well, they stayed there before Memorial Day because they were back and forth from Michael Trace to my house.
I see.
Yeah, because they don't have enough place to sleep at Michael Trace. So they come over at night because Michael Trace is the younger brother resident. So what's happening is this: to cut a long matter short, Everton and Ariel traveled down here for Everton have a little confrontation with the wife. So he moved from Boston to here. So now the wife drove Ariel to Georgia just to drop him off, but Ariel already diagnosed schizophrenia.
Your Honor, I object. My client's personal medical history is confidential.
Okay.
Well, Your Honor, it's also in the warrant that the father stated he has.
Right. I read that part. Mr. Sawyer, if you want to reference any medical condition, you can just say medical condition, but you cannot really, okay? Thank you.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
No problem. Objection sustained.
Okay, so what happened? A day before Monday, me and my wife was over the auntie's house, and we get called that they're having a confrontation over the brother's house. And I came. Then my wife called the crisis line because they were all angry. And it reached to a point, I get up, tried to attack the father. I came in the middle.
I object, Your Honor. What I heard this witness say prior to beginning testifying that he did not witness the allegation that is before this court, Your Honor. I believe that what he speaks of is beyond the scope and it's irrelevant and immaterial.
And the state requests that he be allowed.
This was before yesterday.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Mr. Sawyer, I do understand that you want to tell us more details about prior altercations, but if you can just simply let me know that you personally have witnessed prior altercations, that's sufficient for me.
Exactly.
Okay.
I've already witnessed, and at night we can't sleep because right now, when they leave, we, the family member, are going to sort out how they're going to stay, what the situation is going to be. I'm representing the family. I'm not coming in the middle here to be any harm. I'm just trying to help the situation because Ariel has been struggling for the past months.
Your Honor, I object. Again, I would just ask the court to direct any testimony.
Miss Gann, hang on. This is a gentleman who is trying to manage family folks, and these two people have imposed on his own. If you're going to object to his testimony, you're basically telling him that we have to dump one of these dependents with him. I'm going to let him have his word. Now, Mr. Sawyer, could you please explain to me, and I can understand why defense counsel is objecting, because she's trying to preserve her client's rights, Ariel's rights, okay? Yeah. But my concern is that, are you comfortable having either Everton or Ariel back in your home?
I'm comfortable of having Everton.
Okay.
But Ariel, I can't lose my stay.
Understood.
Because my daughter has anxiety. They'll not be sleeping all through about this confrontation going on.
All right. And your sister is related to whom? To Everton or to Ariel?
Both of them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your sister is Everton's sister. Your wife is Everton's sister.
Older sister.
Yeah. All right. And where is Ariel's mother?
In Boston.
And is she aware of the situation?
She's yeah, she got called.
What's her name?
Her name is Pinky. I can't remember. I don't know the last name.
Everton, what's your wife's name? Please unmute. I need his wife's legal name. Go ahead.
Her name is Sharon Lewis.
Sharon?
Lewis.
Lewis?
Yes.
And what's her phone number?
617-888-4856.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. I appreciate you coming down and giving us this information. Thank you. But the prosecutors may be reaching out to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You may have a seat, sir. All right. Ms. Wondergant, your client Ariel Coxson will be awarded a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He's to have no further contact with Everton Coxson from this day forward. He is to have no further violent contact with the Sawyer family. He cannot return to 545 Micah Trace in Atlanta, Georgia, as long as Everton Coxson occupies that property. And he cannot return to the Sawyer residence just because of the nature of the toxicity to Mr. Sawyer's household. Mr. Coxson is to report to pretrial once a month. Now, if he returns to Boston with his mother, I will allow him to do telephonic reporting. He is to complete a one-day anger awareness program with pretrial services, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And he's to maintain a current address and phone number and email with the clerk's office so that we may send him his summons to come back to court. Ms. Gant, you've got his mother's phone number and name now?
Yes, Your Honor. And Your Honor, if I may, Mr. Coxson informs me that he still has belongings at 545 Micah Trace. May he receive a one-time law enforcement escort to retrieve his belongings?
Yes, he may return to 545 Micah Trace one time only, and he must be in the company of a law enforcement officer once, and then he can retrieve his personal belongings. If there is any dispute as to the ownership of the belongings, he's to leave them there and leave. Understood? Mr. Ariel Coxson, do you understand me?
Yes, I understand.
All right, you are now 20 years old. Welcome to the world of emancipation. Please make sure that you understand the terms of the terms of this bond. If you get arrested again for anything else, if you contact Everton Coxson after today, if you go back to the Sawyer family home, you could be arrested for violations of this bond order and for criminal trespass. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
And which means your $5,000 signature bond will be converted to either a cash bond or a surety bond. And if you return to Massachusetts with your mother, please make sure you let pretrial know so they can process you to be reporting telephonically. Okay, moving on. Mr.
Your
Everton.
Honor,
Yes.
can we get the name of the uncle that just testified, his first name?
Yes, his name is James Sawyer, Sawyer.
Thank you.
All right. With regards to Mr. Everton Coxson, his bond is also going to be $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. After today, he's to have no further contact with Ariel Coxson. He may return to the Sawyer household and he may return to the Micah Trace location, the 545 Micah Trace location. He'll also complete a one-day anger awareness program through pretrial services, and he will report to pretrial once a month. And Mr. Everton Coxson, if you violate any of the conditions of the bond, or if you get arrested again for anything else, the $5,000 signature bond will be revoked. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right. You can come down to the clerk's office, perhaps in a couple of weeks, to find out who your defense counsel is going to be. And your court dates will be sent to you at the mailing address and residential address that you provide. Ariel Coxson, within 30 days of being released, you must update the clerk's office with your new contact address so we can send you notice as to when's your next court date. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Thank you.
All right, you're done. Next, we have position one, Mr. Beatty.
Mr. Sawyer, we're concluded with the Coxson cases. You're free to go. Thank you. Mr. Don Travius Beatty is case number 22 CR 003459B. Mr. Beatty is accused of possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under the age of 18. So he's currently 17 years old. with a date of birth of October 4th, 2004. This alleged incident occurred on June 1st, 2022. Mr. Beatty, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
Yeah, this is third adult cycle.
All right. Does he have any open
He in here
cases?
for bench warrants, entering auto and theft by taking. It's 21 CP 203873.
21 CP, repeat that.
203873.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. And actually, my understanding is that case has been indicted. The case number is 22 SC 182228. The defendant was actually indicted on 2 counts of theft by taking based on the indictment.
Okay.
In this case, Your Honor, and it's fairly straightforward, the defendant, who is under 18, had a Glock Model 17 9mm semi-automatic pistol. When I say he is under the age of 18, his birthday is October 4th of 2004. And so he will be 18 in October in about 4 months. But he has had during that time a fairly active history. What the pretrial left out of this is that he has 7 cycles. Now, of those 7 cycles, 3 are adult arrests, but he has been quite busy, and it has started in 2021 and just kind of kept going. So for you to have 7 cycles before you've turned the age of 18 is pretty stunning. The fact remains.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that, but I'm not going to divulge into that background. So
right, I understand, and we are not addressing the charges, just the facts. Also take into consideration that this defendant has been released and was released on October 7th of 2021. He received a $5,000 split bond. That was $5,000 for the entering auto, and then he got UJR pretrial level 3 for the remainder of that bond. So I'm not sure if pretrial can even come off the bond or what the status would be, but we're seeing right now a level of escalation that is happening. We're going from a theft where he again needed an adult co-signer who was Miss Beatty, his mother, and now we have added on to that by having possession of a firearm, which, as you know, is a pretty serious offense for a 17-year-old to be carrying a gun. Never a good idea, particularly not a good idea in this climate. Dr. Wiley is here. She is from the Credible Messenger Summer Youth Mentoring Program. The defendant was enrolled in that program as part of kind of an outreach. However, he was enrolled and was on his 2nd day when this occurred. So I do want the defendant to know that Dr. Wiley is here. My understanding is one of their conversations was that, they would be here for him as part of, letting him know that there is a presence here that is trying to look out for him. And I want him to know that she is here. So at this point, Your Honor, I'm concerned that if we do a signature bond, it's going to be more of the same. And this isn't juvenile court anymore. When he gets charges now, this is going to adult court and there are going to be adult consequences. So I am asking for a $7,500 surety bond. I am asking that there be a co-signer and it not be his mother, because at this point, his mother already co-signed the other bond. I can't trust that he is being monitored appropriately at this point. And we would also ask for an ankle monitor as part of his surety bond. Also, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, which goes without saying. Definitely no firearms.
right. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dontavius Beatty is 17 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia his entire life. He has family here, including his mother, Andrea Beatty. He does not have any children. Your Honor, Mr. Beatty completed 10th grade. He informs me that he is working on his GED. He also informed me that the summer program that Ms. Falk with ASG Falk spoke about, that is something that he volunteered to to participate in to turn his life around. My client is just a few months away from being a juvenile, and I thank Your Honor for not considering any of my client's prior juvenile history. And at this point, Your Honor, my client is presumed innocent. He has the charge here, the open case. He's presumed innocent in that case. He's presumed innocent in this case as well. My client informs me that he was merely in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was with some people in a car that he had no knowledge whatsoever that this car was stolen, Your Honor. And of course, he's not here today regarding any stolen cars. Mr. Beatty informs me that he is employed. He works at M&M Waste Management. There he collects and separates scrap metal. He is also trying to get a second job at Delta Airlines through this summer program. Your Honor, I spoke with his mother. She is willing to co-sign for him. He does not have any other means to, he does not have another resource to get him out of jail. I am requesting, despite my client's history, a signature bond, as he received a bond earlier that is subject to revocation. So, Your Honor, he will just, in essence, be sitting in jail, which I believe is no place for a 17-year-old, Your Honor. So therefore, I am requesting a signature bond, and that Your Honor allow his mother to co-sign. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then the lowest bond possible. And furthermore, I am opposed to any ankle monitors at this time, Your Honor, as that is an additional expense that his mother will not be able to afford. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Dr. Wiley, my name is Judge Lal. You have been waiting in your car. I don't know if you wanted to add to the proceedings.
No, I don't, Your Honor. Just wanted to be here in support of Mr. Beatty.
Okay, thank you. Bond is set at $5,000. It is a surety bond. He is to stay away from the incident location. He will be subject to a curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. He's not to be in possession of any weapons, no firearms, no devices that can be fashioned as a weapon, and no illegal drugs, no alcohol. His next court date is going to be June 16th. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 19, Mr. Gemma is next.
Samuel Najemo, is that correct? How do you pronounce your last name?
Gemma.
Gemo, okay. Mr. Samuel Gemo is case 22 CR 003-471E. Mr. Najemo is accused of simple battery domestic violence from January 4th, 2022. You have a right to remain silent, as I've explained, and you have a right to an attorney, and she's going to be Ms. J. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
Oh, give me a cosign on this one, though.
Understood, thank you. Ms. Brown, your recommendation?
Yes, Judge. $2,000 surety bond. No further violent contact with the victim. The victim is Pascaline Jemo, Pascaline Jnemo. That is his mother. And 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We have been in communication with the mom, and she has expressed that she's okay with contact with her son. And for that reason, we're asking for no further violent contact.
Right, thank you. Bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. I'll need a cosigner. If mom will cosign, that's perfectly fine too. And that cosigner's name is Pascaline. I'm assuming it's like Pascal, but with an E-N-E?
I-N-E.
I-N-E, okay. And last name is Najemo, right?
Yes,
Conditions to the bond is no further violent contact with Ms. Pascaline Najemo, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. He'll be reporting to pretrial once a month. They'll be subject to random screens for illegal drugs and for alcohol. He'll be subject to a curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So Mr. Najemo, for the rest of summer, until this case is resolved, you stay home after 6 p.m. and help your mother with all your household errands, and whatever she says, you do. You're not to leave the home until 6 a.m. Do you understand? If you get stopped, arrested, or determined to be in violation of the curfew, they will simply bring you back to jail. So please remember to bring $5,000 back with you. There no further violent contact with your mom or with Pascaline Najemo means there cannot be any future verbal or physical altercations where the police get involved again.
And Judge, if I may just put the facts on the record just to make sure they're on the record.
You can. I've read the warrant, but go ahead.
Oh, sure, Judge. The defendant is just accused of physically lifting his mom during an argument, which caused her finger to be injured and her glasses to be broken. That's it, Judge.
All right.
You waiving the bill?
I'm sorry?
Are you waiving the utility bill?
Oh, I'll waive the utility bill. Yeah.
Your Honor, only
Yes,
one
Ms.
thing
Kim?
is though, if his mom is kind of upset, if his mom is not willing to sign for co-signing, would it be okay for his uncle, Carla, to sign?
Well, let's see. I
Co-signer?
see Miss Pascaline Najemo on the Zoom conference. If you'd like
Okay.
to start.
Sure.
If you'd like to start your video and unmute yourself. Miss Pascaline Najemo.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, could you start your video, please?
Yes, I don't know if I did. Oh, sorry.
No problem. Good afternoon. My name is Judge
Good af-
Law. Yes. Are you Samuel's mom?
Yes,
All right.
Judge.
I've granted him a signature bond, which means he doesn't have to pay for the bond, but he has to comply with certain strict conditions, some of which include that you co-sign the bond. Are you prepared to co-sign this bond, or do you have another adult relative who could co-sign this bond?
No, I will come down and sign for it.
All right, make sure you
Okay.
bring a valid government issued ID, like a driver's license or passport indicating your name, okay?
Okay. Thank
He's-
you, ma'am. Thank you,
He's
Judge.
also required to comply with a curfew. He cannot step out of the home after 6 p.m. and he can only leave after 6 a.m. So if he has a job over the summer, that'll be great. Otherwise, feel free to use him to clean up the house from top to bottom every day.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. And if there's any future physical or verbal altercations that involve the authorities, unfortunately, he will be arrested and his bond will be revoked.
Okay, Judge.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Is he planning to leave the house? Is he planning to live elsewhere?
No, he lives with me at home, and I would like for him to have a summer job.
Well, that's up to him. And
Okay.
you.
All right. Thank you.
We can wish, we can't force that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hey, I'm gonna put the address in the chat where the mother can go and co-sign it.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Jabo, are you familiar with the chat feature?
What? You all right?
Yes, Samuel, what would you like to tell me?
Mr. Samuel, I would like to recommend you to stay silent. You have every right to stay silent. You have a signature on bond, so you can go home.
Do you have a question about your bond? That's the only thing I'm gonna let you talk about.
Yeah, because I was trying to get a job, but the hours are like after like 6 p.m.
Oh, you know, my heart cries for you. But right now, if you want to get a job, it's going to be anywhere between after 6 a.m. and you have to be home by 6 p.m. It's up to you if you want to explain to your employer why you have to be home by 6 p.m.
All right.
Those are the tough breaks when you are in the situation you are.
So wait, when do I have to like when is it end?
This goes on until the case is resolved. Now, if you don't want a signature bond and if you don't want curfew, I can keep your bond at 5,000 surety bond and you can pay for your bond and be released. All right, thank you.
Next is position 3, Mr. Cardona.
I'm sorry, Francois, was that position 6?
No, position 3.
Oh, got it. Daniel Cardona is case number 22 CR 0034618, accused of battery domestic violence on June 1st, 2022. Mr. Cardona, sorry. You've been reminded of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. Mr. Tucson, any priors, please?
No.
Okay. Prosecution, Mr. Cheney?
Yes, Your Honor, there is a co-defendant on this calendar, Miss Ariel Magana. I don't know if you want to do her separate.
Is that a female?
Yes, Your Honor. So I guess
We're
we
going to be at a different location. So we'll just do Mr. Cardona right now.
Okay, that's fine. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, as this involves family violence. No contact with victim, a anger awareness class, 1 day, no weapons, drugs, alcohol, no new violations of Georgia law. The stay away order will have to be determined by the living arrangements as we go further, because that, as I said, they are living together. They are not married. They are cousins. And at the time of the incident, a verbal altercation ensued after a night of drinking. They went back to the residence. The defendant threw a cell phone at the victim, hitting her in the face, causing visible injuries, a nosebleed, actually. And what I'm saying as far as the stay away, Your Honor, we do not have information as to who is on the lease. So that is our case, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Daniel Cardona is 22 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He has family here, but he does not have any children. Your Honor, Mr. Cardona informs me that his name is on the lease at the 1020 Piedmont Avenue residence. However, he stated that he also later added Ms. Magana's name, so they have equal rights there. My client wants to continue having contact with his cousin, Your Honor, so therefore I am opposed to any stay away orders for Mr. Cardona, and would ask that Your Honor order a no violent contact order for both. For my client, Mr. Cardona completed high school. He is currently a college student, Georgia State. He's majoring in engineering. His GPA is 3.1. He is also a general manager at a Mexican restaurant. He worked his way up from a busboy to a general manager over the span of 6 years. Your Honor, my client denies the allegations. He denies being the initial aggressor, and because he has no prior history, I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Cardona's behalf, Your Honor. And again, we are opposed to the stay away and would ask for a no violent contact order. Thank you.
All right, thank you. With regards to Mr. Daniel Cardona, bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. He doesn't have to pay for the bond today, but he has to report to pretrial once a month. And he has to complete a 1-day anger awareness program through pretrial. No further contact with, Ms. Magana. No further contact with Ariana Magana, and he may return to the Piedmont Avenue location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no firearm. He will be subject to random screens by pretrial services. If he gets arrested again, if he fails a screen, or he engages in any form of communication, direct or indirect, with Ms. Magana, he could risk his $5,000 signature bond. Make sure that his contact information is current with us at all times, and we will send him his next court date. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Position 20, Mr. Torres.
Mr. Onyx Torres, case number 22 CR 003-473C, is accused of fair evasion and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. This was from a June 1st, 2022 incident. Mr. Torres, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
This is his third arrest. Last was back in April, suspended license. That's open in Burnett. 2019 out of Ohio. Unauthorized use of plates and driving under suspension.
All right, thank you. Ms. Brown?
Yes, Judge. For Mr. Torres, we are recommending a 2,500 surety bond. Stay away from Candler Park train station, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Oh, I had a question about that. It was brought up to me whether this particular model station is in DeKalb or Fulton County. I do not know.
I don't know.
We may have a jurisdiction issue. Before I issue a bond, could someone from the prosecutor's office please verify that the venue is in Fulton County?
I got it, Your Honor. I'll start looking into that while Ms. Brown handles the bond hearing.
Okay. If and only if this case is in Fulton County, Ms. Kim, what would you recommend?
We would like to recommend for a signature on bond. This is he moved here from Puerto Rico about 2 months ago, and he has his family here. He has a job. He studied his job. Actually, he starts Friday, so he really got to get out tonight so he can start his job as a custodian at the local school. And he graduated from high school, and he wants to keep his job. He's only 23 years old, but yeah. So we would like to request for a signature on bond.
If this case is in Fulton County, I would set a bond for 1,500, 500 on the fair evasion, 1,000 on the obstruction. It's a 1,500 signature bond through pretrial services, and to stay away from the Candler Park Model Station if it's in Fulton County.
That would be per judge.
Yes, sir. Well, if it's in Fulton County, yeah. And of course, he has to stay away from that particular model station in accordance with any suspension that he's issued by model. All right, Mr. Torres, you please have a seat on the chair behind you. We just need to make sure that I can issue this order if the case is in Fulton County. Otherwise, you will have to be transferred to DeKalb County if the case is in DeKalb County.
Okay.
So we're gonna need him again. So we have, he's coming back again, right? We're not done with his case, right, Judge?
No, please do not remove him until we verify this is we have jurisdiction. Thank you.
Not a problem. Next, we have position 9, Mr. Helm. Come on, Mr. Helm.
Dustin Patrick Helm is case 22 CR 003477J. Mr. Helm is accused of soliciting rights of business as a pedestrian on June 1st, 2022. Mr. Helm, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say about these facts of the case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to counsel, and that's going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. Understand that he's got somewhat of a history from Alabama, but he's got a companion case, 22 CR 002804J. Mr. Cheney, what's your bond recommendation for Mr. Helm?
Your Honor, bond has already been set at a $2,500 surety bond. That may be because of the companion case and the criminal history. Stay away from this intersection where it occurred at Mansell Road and Georgia 400 at Alpharetta, where law enforcement observed him panhandling for contributions between those lanes. He had also been cited multiple times for the same activity, which I imagine would be the companion case. Also, no weapons, drugs, alcohol, no new violations of Georgia law. That is our case, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dustin Helm is 41 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area since 2005. He does not have any family here. He also does not have anyone to help him pay bond. Mr. Helm completed high school. He has been unemployed since 2012 or 2013. He is in the process of applying for disability. He does not have any tangible assets. He does not have the means to pay any bond. And I would ask that, given the nature of the allegation, Your Honor, that you grant Mr. Helm a signature bond. And again, we are unopposed to the stay away. Thank you.
He received a signature bond on May 9th, 2022, and was told to stay away from the ramp at Mansell Road and Georgia 400. So this is a repeat incident. Bond is set at $500 is a surety bond. Well, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, and stay away from the ramp at Mansell Road and Georgia 400. We're going to reset this case to June 16th, and we're going to reset the other case, 22 CR 002-804J, to June 16th. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Done. Position 16, Lockett.
Do you see the companion case on the calendar? Katrina?
Position 16?
Position 9.
Position 9.
Position 16, let me see. Did I answer your question? Katrina?
Oh, yeah, the other case is already out. I'll just have to get it back from the
Okay.
case manager.
Position 16 is Jamaris Lockett. Are you Mr. Lockett?
Yes.
Case number 22 CR 003-474B, accused of fair evasion and criminal trespass at MARTA from a June 1st, 2022 incident. Mr. Lockett, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim, before we proceed, Ms. Falk, do you have a response on the location of the Candler Park MARTA station?
Yes, Your Honor, we will be submitting a null pros, and let me check on, there's another case that is of, I have the same concern. I believe it is, and let me just double check and make sure that I'm right on this. I think it may be Lawrence Ford. And so I'm going to check the documents on that one as well. I'm pulling those up now, and we will be submitting a null pros on Mr. Ford.
All right. What case was that?
Position number 7 was the other one.
Mr. Ford is position 7 on our calendar.
Okay.
And whom would you like me to send that to, Your Honor?
Please send it to Katrina Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Onyx Torres, please stand up, sir. All right. Mr. Torres, because this is a case from DeKalb County, the prosecutor is not going to prosecute this case.
Here's Mr. Torres, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Torres, the prosecutor is not going to pursue this case, so this case is closed. However, if you return to the Candler Park MARTA station, you could be arrested for trespass if there is a suspension against you by MARTA.
Okay.
And if they do it correctly, this case will then be in DeKalb County, and you'll end up in the same situation you're in right now. So I'll recommend that you do not return to that MARTA property until you find out when your suspension ends.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're free to go.
The bond remains the same?
And for Mr. Lawrence Michael Ford, is he?
Yes, that's me right here.
All right. Mr. Lawrence Michael Ford, again, same announcement.
Question.
The Fulton County Solicitor General's office is not going to pursue prosecution in this case.
Okay.
That particular location is in DeKalb County. So same announcement. The case is closed, you're going to be released. But if you go back to that MARTA station, you could be arrested for criminal trespass if there is a suspension against you.
Okay. Yes.
So check to see if there's a suspension. And if there is, stay away from MARTA until the suspension ends. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck, sir.
All right, thank you.
So Judge, for position 20, Mr. Torres, instead of the signature bond is just dismissed, correct?
Correct. Position 7 is null pros, position 20 is null pros. Signature bond for Torres is dismissed, correct?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and if we can return,
Mr. Lockett.
who were we addressing last time? I'm sorry, I'm losing track of the names. Yeah, it was, thank you. All right, and returning back to position number 16, Mr. Tucson, any priors on Mr. Lockett?
Third arrest. Last was February for simple assault, Clayton County. In January 2022, Villa Rica, trespass and felony terrorist threats. So those appear to be open.
Okay, so in Villa Rica, February of 2022, felony terroristic threats and criminal trespass?
It's January 2022.
January 2022, okay, thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, there's a current bond of $2,000 surety in this case, and the state requested that bond remain the same, with the stay away from MARTA being that he criminally trespassed the Lindbergh MARTA station, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Okay. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Lockett is 33 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for all his life. His siblings are here in Georgia, and actually he has disability ever since he was a baby. So he has not been able to have any kind of job or employment for his entire life at this point. We would like to request for a signature on bond as pre-trial service also recommended. So signature on bond, please. Thanks.
On
That
the
was
fair
a-
evasion, I'm sorry?
Yeah, that was an error with these open.
Oh, there was an error.
He's got an open felony case out of Villa Rica. I don't know what county is that, Carroll County, is that correct, Tucson?
Yes, I believe so.
On the fair evasion, it's a 500 signature bond through the jail. On the criminal trespass, is a 500 surety bond. Reset date is June 16. He's to stay away from all model property in accordance with any suspension in place.
I thought maybe I should be getting it from that particular train.
Mr. Lockett, please stay silent. You have every right to remain silent, and you're more than welcome to call me so I can explain to you.
Thank you.
Judge, what was the bond for the criminal trespass?
500 surety. The total is $1,000 split bond. And stay away from all model property in accordance with any suspension. Medical, who do we have, please?
Yeah, number 4, Miss Carmichael.
Ms. Salietti Carmichael is case number 22 CR 003462J. Ms. Carmichael, if you could please bring your outfit to cover your shoulder, please. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Ms. Carmichael, my name is Judge Law, and just want to let you know that this is an open, active case against you for criminal trespass. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you will be Ms. Wanda Gant. Ms. Gant, do we have any MH issues right now?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. I understand Ms. Carmichael has 45 cycles with a significant history of probation violations. I'm not going to go into detail with regards to her criminal history or her convictions. Mr. Cheney, what is your recommendation for bond?
Your Honor, state's recommendation is a $2,500 surety bond, no contact with the actual third-party witness, a Carhonda Adams, Carhonda, last name, common spelling, who worked for MARTA at the time. The defendant was accused of getting into an argument with her. She kicked a MARTA mobility bus and left a dent in the side of the bus. The incident location was 120 Piedmont Avenue, Atlanta. which would be also a stay away request. No weapons, no drugs and alcohol, no new violations of Georgia law. That is our case, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Solati Carmichael is 36 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 4 years. She has a 2-year-old son. She states that she is the primary caretaker for her child. She completed high school. She also has some college credits at DuPont Health. She is unemployed at this time, Your Honor. She was recently approved for Social Security disability. Therefore, she does not have the means to pay anything toward bond. I have been in contact with her grandmother. She also states that she is unable to help Ms. Carmichael. Given the nature of the allegations, Your Honor, which she denies, I am requesting a signature bond on Ms. Carmichael's behalf, or the lowest bond possible if Your Honor determines that she's ineligible. We are unopposed to the stay away and the no contact order as well. With regard to the stay away, I am opposed to that unless there is an active suspension from MARTA in place. Thank you.
$500 surety bond, stay away from MARTA property unless and services in accordance with any suspension. Next court date is June 16th.
Next, we have Mr. Burnett, position 2.
Mr. Jerome Edward Burnett is case number 22 CR 003460G. He's been accused of criminal trespass from June 1st, 2022. Mr. Burnett, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
Second arrest, 2018 simple assault robbery, ag assault. He's on probation and card for ag assault.
Is there a hold?
Not now.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Brown?
Yes, Judge. For Mr. Burnett, we're asking for a 2,500 surety bond. Stay away from 5160 North Bridges Drive in Johns Creek. No further contact, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. It's primarily based on the fact that he is on probation, Judge.
All right. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jerome Barnett is 26 years old. He was born in Philadelphia. However, he has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 5 years. He does not have any family here. Your Honor, we are opposed to the stay away. At the incident location, Mr. Barnett informs me that he rents a room and that the complaining witness is the landlord, and that landlord does not stay on the premises. Mr. Barnett completed high school. He is now currently unemployed. Prior to becoming unemployed, he worked for a very short while at a gas station. Your Honor, he does not have the means to pay anything toward bond. He denies the allegations. He states that the complaining witness in this case basically is accusing him of false allegations, primarily because he knows that he is on probation and he has made threats many times to call the police to get him rearrested. Your Honor, I am requesting again a signature bond on Mr. Barnett's behalf, given the nature of the allegations. Again, we are opposed to the stay away order, but would ask, we are opposed to the stay away and we are unopposed to the no contact order, the landlord. Thank you.
So I have sworn testimony from the police officer in this warrant that the alleged victim, Pius Angtancho, is a roommate. Well, I understand, sir, but that's what the police officer has testified to before the judge.
Mr. Barnett, please remain silent.
Sorry.
Bond is going to be set at $2,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. No further contact with Pius Angtancho. I'm trying to see if I can get. Okay, 80. Okay, we got, and that's what I got. Angtancho. He can return to the 5160 North Bridges location drive in Johns Creek. He needs to first make a one-time visit with a police officer. If it is verified that Pius Angtancho does not live there, then he can return to the property. But if Pius Angtancho is a resident of that property, then unfortunately Mr. Burnett would have to find alternative housing. He can go back one time only with that police officer for two main reasons. Either verify that Pius does not live there, so he can move in, or if Pius lives there, then he can remove his belongings. Understood? If you have to remove your belongings because Pius lives there, then you have to give us your new address within 30 days of being released. Your next court date will be sent to your new address. If you can't live there, your new address will not be 5160 North Bridges Drive.
Yes, ma'am.
No drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And that's it.
That's project.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 8, Mr. Hall.
State versus Tawan Ernest Hall. Mr. Hall is accused of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer on June 1st, 2022. Mr. Hall's case number is 22 CR 003-466D. Mr. Hall has been advised of his right to remain silent, and his attorney is Ms. Wanda Gann. Mr. Cheney, does Mr. Hall have any other charges, any Fulton County Superior Court charges or anything to that effect?
Looking at his criminal record, Your Honor, I did not see any. I only see a 2019 arrest for theft by receiving.
And yes, with all due respect, I've already read the warrant. Is there anything in particular anything else you want to add for your plea for a surety bond?
Well, Your Honor, we would ask to keep it the same, $1,000 surety, and the reason for that, this is not a normal obstruction. He was caught in a stolen vehicle, which crashed, and he fled on foot from the officer, who had to join other officers to basically run him down. That's why we're asking for the surety to remain the same. No weapons, no drugs, alcohol, no new violations of Georgia law. There's really not a stay away. This happened at 3501 MLK Junior Drive, which I definitely know is in Fulton County. That is our case, Your Honor.
I didn't see that he was the operator of the vehicle, though.
No, Your Honor, he was the passenger, but
Okay.
he was in a stolen vehicle, which basically was in a wreck, and he got out of the car and ran from the officer.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't a typical refusing verbal commands, which is what I think the warrant said in part. But that is our case, Your Honor.
Understand, Mr. Cheney. I just want to confirm he's got a hold in Cobb County, a felony hold.
I did not see that on his GCIC.
Mr. Tucson?
Larceny. I don't know if it's felony, but it's larceny.
Okay, and is it?
It should be on his booking sheet.
And is this a hold?
Yes. He's wanted.
It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, and the release is only to the Cobb County authorities.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Hall, you've got a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, and Cobb County authorities will need to come pick you up to address the case out in that jurisdiction. Once you are released from Cobb County, then you are responsible for making sure that we have a current address and contact information on you. So make sure you update that with the clerk's office once you're released from Cobb County. And we'll send you your next court date in the mail. If you fail to appear and if you fail to update us with your address, well, we'll just have to issue a bench warrant for your arrest. We do this all over again. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 14, Jones. Put your mask up for me, Jones.
No conditions, unless I want him to stop running. Okay. I'm sorry, Francois, what was that?
Position 14, Jones.
Thank you. We have Christopher Jones accused of battery from 22 CR 003-478C. Mr. Jones, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim.
Your Honor, this is conflict case.
It is.
Yes.
You're right. You're right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, your attorney is going to be appointed from our conflict defense list, as the public defender's office has to recuse themselves from representing you. All right, Mr. Tucson, give me a brief history, at least up to 2019.
8 total. Last arrest was last month out of Brookhaven.
All right, we're going to waive sounding on that charge.
All right. July 2021, possession of drug-related objects. 2020 out of Pennsylvania, got simple assault, ag assault. I don't see a disposition for that. 2019 ag assault, disorderly conduct. The ag assault was non-process. 2018 disorderly conduct, defiant trespasser. Those were non-processed. What else?
No, that's good. Thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor. There's a current bond of $2,500 surety on this case, and the state requests that that bond be increased to a $4,000 surety with no further contact with the victim, Alan King. A stay away from the address 3330 Piedmont Road, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia. 1-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. We're recommending surety bond due to defendant battering Mr. King by punching him, causing lacerations to his face and forehead. We've heard from pretrial the violent arrests defendant had, and we do have concerns with his ties to the community, being that most of his history is in Pennsylvania. So based on that, we are recommending $4,000 surety bond.
Thank you. I'm looking at the warrant over here, and based on his criminal record history, bond is going to be set at $2,500. It's going to be a surety bond. Next court date is going to be June 16th. No further contact with Alan King. Stay away from 3330 Piedmont Road, Northeast Atlanta. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Mr. Jones, based on your recent arrest record, you do not qualify for a signature bond.
That's how I know I did, but
You do not make any comments until you've had a chance to speak to an attorney. Otherwise, you're going to risk incriminating yourself. I've already advised you of your right to remain silent. Thank you.
Yes, we got number 13, Mr. G. On 3-7.
State versus Franklin, Franklin, Jean, Jean, case number 22CR 003-470E. I'm sorry, is it Mr. Jean or Mr. Jean?
Mr. Jean for French.
Mr. Jean, you are accused of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from June 1st, 2022. You've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be, is it Miss Kim? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. And Mr. Jean is in 3 South at the present time. Okay. Mr. Tucson.
My last arrest was July 2021. Possession of a controlled substance. He got an open case in Cherokee for that. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon. Possession of a firearm during the commission. On probation and called possession of meth. Possession of a controlled substance. He has a Burnett hold traffic FTA. 2020 obstruction conviction. He also has history out of state in Florida. You want more?
No, that's good. Thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, there's a current bond of $1,000 surety, and the state requests that that bond remain the same. Based on the police report, it appears that the defendant was arrested because the officers were responding to a victim who stated that the defendant was a suspect in stealing his camera. And when they did an NDT, it came back with an active warrant out on the defendant. The Gwinnett one is heard from pretrial. while being detained, he resisted, and while in the patrol car, he removed his handcuffs and attempted to escape. So based on that, we are recommending a surety bond, and based on his history, both in Georgia and Florida. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Your Honor, I would like to recommend for a signature on bond so he can go to Burnett County to take care of the foreign county arrest warrant. He's 32 years old and he has been here in Georgia for 6 years, and he does have one child. Actually, he recently lost another one about 2 weeks ago, and he has he's planning to get married, and he has his business here in Georgia. He graduated from high school. He has a good ties to the community. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. Thank you.
Bond is set at $1,000. It is a surety bond. Next court date is June 16th. If he makes bond, make sure we have a good mailing and residential address so he can get his next court date. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is position 10, Mr. Hughes.
Position 10, we have State versus Eric Kwame Hughes, accused of criminal trespass, obtaining unlawful entry into MARTA, and possession and use of drug-related objects. This is from a June 1st, 2022 incident. Mr. Hughes, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. I understand from pre-trial that he's got 73 cycles. Are there any open cases at the present time?
Got an open shop.
Is that in Fulton County?
Yes.
Okay.
But hold on. It says APD on here. Let me make sure it's not the cab. Yeah, he went to the city jail for that.
All right. Mr. Cheney?
Yeah, our state's recommendation would be to have the bond remain the same, which is $1,000 surety on all three charges, to stay away from all MARTA, where he was accused of pushing through the gate at the station at 841 West Peachtree Street without paying a proper fare. As I said, he had an active suspension. Search incident to arrest revealed a glass crack pipe in his pocket. Also, no new violations, no drugs or alcohol, and no weapons. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Eric Hughes is 50 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 20 years. He has 3 children, ages 21, 25, and 32. He also has 4 grandchildren. He is involved in his family's life. Your Honor, we are opposed to the stay away unless there is, in fact, an active suspension in place. Mr. Hughes completed or obtained a GED. He is unemployed and has been so after learning about a serious health condition. He is unable to work at this time, Your Honor. He does not have the means to pay anything towards bond. I have reached out to his mother, Miss Patricia Hughes. She is also unable to assist, and I would just ask that, given the nature of the allegations, Your Honor, that you would grant my client a signature bond, Your Honor, or if he is ineligible, then the lowest bond possible. Thank you.
Thank you. On the trespass, it's $1,000 surety. On the unlawful entry, it's going to be $500, and the possession use of drug-related objects is $500. Total bond is set at $2,000. It is a surety bond. Stay away from all MARTA property until further order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next court date is June 16th. Thank you.
That's what my next date is.
Position 12, Ms. Jacoby.
Miss Miriam Felix Jacobo is accused of driving under the influence of alcohol per se, driving with an improper or erratic lane change, and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe from a June 1st, 2022 incident. Ms. Jacobo, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
No.
Mr. Cheney, what's your recommendation?
Your Honor, we'd ask the bond to remain the same. She was granted a $5,000 total bond. However, we'd have to break this down a little differently. We added a DUI less safe charge in case the intoxilizer results are suppressed. We'd ask for a $3,500 bond on the DUI per se, $1,000 surety on the DUI less safe, and a $500 surety on the erratic lane change, as she blew a .14 with the intoxilizer after failing 3 field sobriety tests. This occurred in Roswell at 675 Crossville Road. Also, we would ask driving privileges be pursuant to DDS, no weapons, drugs, alcohol, no new violations. That is our case, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Mireya. She is 23 years old and she is recommended for unsecured judicial relief by pretrial. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. And she has been here in Georgia for 23 years. She has her parents and families all here in Georgia. And she has been working as a server at the restaurant while she's going to Chattahoochee Technology University as a full-time student. She's been studying environmental engineers. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. On the DUI, for which I've got a warrant, which is the per se charge, that's going to be a $1,500 surety. The erratic lane change, that's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail. And the DUI per se, less safe is going to be a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. The total bond is going to be $3,500 split. She would have to pay on the $1,500 portion, and the remainder bond will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Next court date is June 16th. If she makes bond, we will need to make sure that we have a correct mailing address for her so that we can send her notice of a next court date.
Thank you.
No alcohol, no illegal drugs. And you're only allowed to drive in accordance with the limited driving privileges set up by the Department of Driver Services. Your driving privileges will expire in 30 days unless you file the appropriate documents with the Office of State Administrative Hearings and with the Department of Driver Services. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're done. Quick announcement, Judge, position 15 bonded out.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Anything else?
That's it. We're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Francois.
Thank you.
Councils, I have South Annex. Let's go for that.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I do not have her position number, Ms. Magana.
Ariana Magana, position
Yes, Your Honor.
17. Yes. Okay. Ms. Ariana Magana is position 17 on our calendar, case number 22 CR 003469A. Ms. Magana is a cross-defendant accused of simple battery domestic violence from June 1st, 2020. I understand she's the cousin and cross-defendant to position 3, Daniel Cardona.
First arrest.
All right. Ms. Magana, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is going to be appointed from the conflict defense list. We do not have an attorney at the present time, so please remember your right to remain silent. Okay, Mr. Cheney, I've issued a $5,000 signature bond with regards to Mr. Cardona. I'm more inclined to do the same thing, except that she cannot return to the location, 1020 Piedmont Avenue. She would have to find separate housing, and she would have to update the clerk's office within 30 days. No further contact with Daniel Cardona until further order of the court. No
Thank you.
drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Any objection?
No, Your Honor, we'd also ask for a one-day anger awareness class,
Yes, sir.
as they were involved in the altercation where she threw the phone also and hit the other gentleman in the head, although there were no visible injuries leading to the simple battery charge. That is our case, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Magana, you don't have to pay for your bond today. It's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. You can sign up for your bond, but you have to comply with the conditions of the bond. Any non-compliance will risk your signature bond being revoked and you being arrested again. And the next time you would have to pay for that $5,000 bond. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The conditions to the bond are, first of all, you report to pretrial once a month. And if you get arrested again for anything else, you lose that signature bond. You are to have no further contact with Daniel Cardona. You have to stay away from 1020 Piedmont Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. You can return to that location one time only to retrieve your personal belongings. And when you return, you must have a police officer accompany you. That visit cannot exceed 2 hours and is only to retrieve your personal belongings. Within 30 days of being released, you must update the court with your new address so we can send you notice of your next court date. It's very important that we have your new address, because if you miss out on your next court date, a warrant will be issued for your failure to appear. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
You are to not consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You have to complete a one-day anger awareness program with the Fulton County Pretrial Services. And I believe that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Deputy Milton, one more thing. Ms. Magana, when you come down to the clerk's office to give us your new address, please also let them know that you need a conflict defense counsel to represent you. So they'll make sure they have one assigned to you.
Okay.
All right. Otherwise, you have a right to hire your own attorney. So it's up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, before we review the calendar, I just wanted to make sure you did receive the 2 no cross orders.
We
May
have
we
them.
be
Thank you.
excused?
Yes, Deputy Milton. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Yes, it is. All right. Position 1, Beatty is a 5,000. Was it 5,000 surety bond? Reset date June 16th. Position 2 is a 2,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. Position 3, Cardona is a 5,000 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. Position 4 is a 500 surety bond, reset date June 16th. Position 5 is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial. Stay away from Micah Trace and no contact with cross-defendant Everton Coxson. Everton Coxson, 5,000 signature bond through pretrial and further notice for trial. Position 7, Ford is null crossed. Position 8, Hall is a 2,000 signature bond through the jail, release only to Cobb County authorities. Position 9, Helm is a 500 surety bond, reset date June 16th. Position 10 is a 2,000 surety bond, reset date June 16th. Position 11 is a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. Position 12, Jacobo is a 3,500 split bond, reset date June 16th. Position 13, Franklin John is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date June 16th. Position 14, Jones is a 2,500 surety bond, reset date June 16th. Position 15, made bond and is released, further notice for trial. Position 16 is a $1,000 split bond, reset date June 16th. Position 17 is a 5,000 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. 18, Murphy is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial, position further notice. Position 19, Najomo is a 5,000 signature bond through pretrial. Position 20 is null crossed. I think that's good. Any questions?
I'm about to bring you that waiver.
Okay, thank you, folks. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you.